Continuing with our parametric key plan family, we've traced over the floor plan from the project file to get the basic geometry in the previous movie, and now what we want to do is take this basic geometry and create a series of filled regions from that will represent the shaded areas of the key plan. So I'm in a file here called Key Plan Step 2, and if you're following along, you can open that one up, or you can continue in your own version from the previous lesson. And the next step that we need to do here is to create some filled regions in the 5 areas of the building. So we're going to use filled region for this. And let's start with the simple ones, right? We can do a basic rectangle right here. There's no need to lock all of these because some of this geometry that is underlying is temporary anyway. So we'll just leave it unlocked. Go ahead and click Finish. And the default filled region style in the family editor here is solid black. If you're happy with that, then we're basically done. Otherwise, you could duplicate that type and do a crosshatch pattern or something if you prefer. The other thing that you might want to consider is, as I zoom in here, let's try and get the filled region here, depending on the line style you chose for the outline of the filled region, and that would be back in the sketch, you may or may not like the rounding of the corners there. Now, the line style just gives us generic annotations as the only choice. And that's, again, because we're in a default generic annotation family template. So if you want to adjust those line weights, you'll have to go to Object Styles, create a new line style, and fiddle with that. Or you can actually set the edges of the filled region to invisible lines and then come back and just outline the overall shape. That's actually what I'm going to do, is I'm going to make those invisible lines, and then later I'm going to make this line work here a nice bold line type. But you can see that gives me a cleaner, harder edge corner there. Some of this is graphic standard, so if you prefer to do yours a little differently, feel free. I'm going to go back to Home and create another filled region. You can trace over this, you can use pick lines, any technique that you want to do, but I'll just go ahead and start off with invisible lines this time, and it's just as easy to trace this like so, and finish up like that. Now, as you move along, it's all going to turn black, but each of those is a separate region, so it's not an issue. Let's go ahead and just do the next 3. And there's our final filled region there. So if I zoom back out, the whole thing is black. That's fine. What we're going to do is get rid of these lines right here. We no longer need those. This one, I'll press the Tab key to get all 3 little parts. And so we now have 5 separate filled region shapes in here, and we have an outline that goes around the whole thing. So that outline I want to actually be a little bit bolder line type, but again, I currently only have generic annotation as a subcategory. I don't have another subcategory to change there. So I'm going to go to the Manage tab, Object Styles, and for generic annotations, I'm going to add a subcategory called Medium Lines. Now, I'm just using the same name that Revit would use in most of the other templates. And medium lines is typically about a pen weight 3, but it's up to you if you want to use a different pen weight, of course, and you could use a different line color or pattern. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to select with the Tab key, again, all of those lines, and now medium lines will be there on the list. And I've just given that a little bit more weight. So the next step that we need to do is we want each of these filled regions to have visibility control. Now, just like in a model family, we were able to control the visibility of an object using parameters here on the Properties palette, we can do the same thing here in an annotation family. So over here for the filled region, the graphics area has the visible checkbox, and right next to it has the small little parameter button. So I can simply click on that. That brings up the Associate Family Parameter box, and the parameter type is going to be a yes/no parameter. It's going to be a checkbox. If it's checked, it's yes. If it's unchecked, it's no. I'm going to add parameter. Now, the top region is actually our 5th region, so that is Zone E. So we're going to name that Zone E. You can put it under any group you want. I'm going to put it under Graphics, I suppose, and click OK. Now, while I'm here, I'm just going to go ahead and add the additional parameters I need. And I need 5 of these. And once you've created the last one, you just want to make sure that Zone E is selected before you click OK. We've created all 5 in this dialog, but we want zone E to be associated with this filled region. And then we simply want to select the others and associate them with an appropriate zone. So that one's D, this one's C, B, and A. So that gets all our regions set up. It associates a parameter with all of them. And in the next movie, what we'll do is begin creating family types and formulas to actually control which zone is turned on under which circumstance.